Hello, I'm Britton Clenett and welcome to China Insight, where we discuss the latest issues affecting this rapidly changing country. It's been heralded as the new industrial revolution, bigger than the rise of the internet and the perfect marriage between DIY ingenuity and tech entrepreneurialism. It's called the Maker Movement. It's revolutionizing the way we approach innovation, and it's spreading across China in a big way. The concept behind the trend, which has already drawn in millions of creative types worldwide, is almost retroactive in its simplicity. It's about creating communities and places where space, ideas and resources are all shared. Beijing Makerspace and Creatica co-founder Joanna Wei is here to tell me all about it. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Could you start by explaining what Creatica is, what the Maker Movement is? Because I think some of us can kind of gauge the concept, but not entirely.
Okay, so Creatica is actually a very innovative organizations which is provide the curriculum for the young generations about the cutting-edge technologies, workshops, classes, and especially we're focused with, for example, like 3D printing, CNC, laser cutter, and all this, with all this, incredible tools, technical tools to us, the tools to provide the curriculum for the kids.
So Creatica is one program which you founded. Beijing Makerspace is the space itself.
Yeah, right.
Right. So how does this fit in with the whole Maker Movement?
So Beijing Makerspace is actually the largest makerspace in Asia so far, and we actually started like from 5 years ago from Maker Carnival. It's like China's maker fair. So afterwards we figure out, besides the physical space, we want to provide more content and more value to the society, and that's why we started the Makers Incubator. I mean, it's much more acceleration, incubation focus, and also we provide the young generations, like Creatica is a separate brand, which is all about the young generations classes and the curriculum. So actually, Beijing Makerspace is more like a mother company, and they're taking care of all this, projects and innovation. Companies.
Okay, well, I want to talk a little bit more about the role of innovation. Now, a decade after it first began gathering pace in the US, the Maker Movement is being embraced in the world's second largest economy, with tens of thousands of talented young Chinese turning their ideas into new products. In the following report, we'll find out what it takes to be a so-called maker in China and examine the challenges they face. Let's take a look, Joanna.
Okay.
Portable, quick to set up, and easy to operate. This is FPET, an electric mobility aid that's designed to help senior citizens cover short distances. The innovative device is the brainchild of Chinese maker Song Wenhui. He first hit upon the idea in 2009 and spent the next 5 years perfecting his prototype. Foldable and convenient, with a top speed of 6.5 kilometers per hour, this is the final result. Maker Yue Hung takes pride in shrinking down robotic arms, in terms of both size and cost. His product, UARM, works on a desktop and is affordable for most households. Operated by a small mouse or mobile phone, or by using simple hand gestures, UARM is designed to grip and move small objects like this box, regardless of the smooth plastic facing. Products pioneered by other makers include this dancing robot and a piano keyboard that operates on paper. Across China right now, tens of thousands of makers are on the move. Designers, artists and inventors sharing space and resources to turn their fresh ideas into new devices. For some, being a maker is a full-time job. For others, it's just a hobby. Irrespective, these young and talented minds are leading a trend that is bringing changes to both lifestyles and business models in China and beyond. Born in the US in the early 2000s, the Maker Movement has gone on to produce big names and big selling products worldwide. One of the most successful among the ranks of its US pioneers is Chris Anderson, a former editor-in-chief of tech magazine Wired Anderson now works as the CEO of 3D Robotics, the largest US-based drone manufacturer.
People have been making things forever, in their garage, in their workshops, in their basement. The web is about making things together, in communities online. What the maker movement does is it combines the two. It combines the DIY spirit that's traditionally been an isolated act with the web spirit, which is a collective act. Puts them together, and that becomes the maker movement.
The ethos behind the maker movement, sharing resources and spaces, lends itself to a communal working environment that sits somewhere between a business incubator and a manufacturing plant. In China, where the movement is still relatively new, there are now scores of these so-called maker spaces, mostly in first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai and Shenzhen. The Chai Ho Makerspace, the first of its kind in Shenzhen, was set up in 2011 by 27-year-old Pan Hao. The name Chai Ho means firewood. Pan chose it from an old Chinese saying, "If many collect and put the firewood together, even a little fire can grow and spread." It says something about his dream, everybody working together to make the Chinese maker movement grow.
他们都有共性，就是他们是非常不安于现状，他们愿意用科技、用造物的手段去为这个世界带来改变的人。其实造物的这种快乐，我觉得是一个人类天生的一个特性。
Inspiration and training aside, makerspaces provide members with cutting-edge tools they otherwise might not be able to access.
What the maker movement came with was tools that were easy to use, that were very sophisticated tools that didn't require sophisticated skills. So 3D printing used to require a university degree. It cost thousands of dollars, and now 3D printing is something my children do on weekends. The electronics used to require a 4-year college degree, and now it's something my children do in school. Same for CNC and laser cutting and CAD.
Often based in small basements or garages, so-called maker spaces are places where the not-so-serious can indulge their interests and have fun. But for those keen to make serious products and profits, something bigger is needed. And that's where incubators come in handy. HAX is one of them. An application to join is needed, but once accepted, makers enjoy seed funding of US $25,000, office space, and regular mentorship on a variety of topics, including building products and how to pitch them to potential investors and buyers. Most importantly, the program offers an opportunity to live and work in Shenzhen, interacting directly with manufacturers who have the ability to take the product to scale.
Shenzhen for us is the Silicon Valley for hardware. It's really about a critical mass that the supply chain has reached out. When it comes down to be able to do things a lot faster. When we do electronics, for example, if you are abroad, it's going to take you, 2 weeks to get it. Whilst when you move over here, and you can almost have anything in 3 or 4 days.
For successful applicants like Song Lei, HAX is a game changer. While studying in Singapore 2 years ago, he and a group of maker friends developed a smart cushion which is able to monitor the user's sitting position and heartbeat. But despite his excellent engineering skills, Song Lei was at a loss when it came to marketing and mass-producing his product. He decided to apply to the HAX program and, after several rounds of evaluation, was accepted.
一些产品的设计，还有一些怎么和媒体打交道，去做这个宣传推广。 还有这个怎么做融资和投资人打交道，还有怎么去把它开发出来软硬件，包括后续的工厂怎么去管理供应链和工厂打交道，所以说是其实更像一个创业的学校。
After graduation, Song Lei and his team raised US $220,000 through pre-sales on Kickstarter, the world's largest funding platform for creative projects. They also secured US $5 million in an initial round of venture capital financing. Now, his company is operating at full speed. Support for the maker movement in China comes not only from private investors, but also from the government. Before attending the Summer Davos Forum in Dalian, Liaoning Province, Premier Li Keqiang visited a local makerspace, where he was impressed by a web platform to upgrade and fully utilise some 30,000 machine tools in the country's northeast region.
他们不仅把这些机床的利用率提高了，因为让机床的生产和需求者更好的对接，更重要的是，他们运用28万工程师的智慧，在对许多机床进行智能改造，提供解决方案。
The Premier said the government pins high hopes on makers starting their own businesses and creating jobs. He also promised stronger support and less red tape for makers turned entrepreneurs. Some of the proposed measures he has floated include simplified business registration procedures, tax reductions or exemptions, and an increased level of government funding for venture capital projects. While the maker movement looks set to grow rapidly, some makers are taking it slow, cautioning against the challenges ahead. They say at the top of that list of challenges is strategizing to mitigate risk and deal with failure. 36-year-old maker Guo Lia is the founder of China's hottest app, MyOT. Users can custom make their own cartoon profile pictures by choosing different kinds of faces, hairstyles and clothes, and add decorations and speech bubbles containing text. It's proven so popular, the app has already been downloaded tens of millions of times. Guo Lia says his success was hard-won.
对于创客来说，其实承担了非常多的风险，因为80%到90%的创意都是会失败的。联盟之前我们也做失败过产品。创客其实最追求的并不是成功和失败，而是说你是否能够就是创造新的一个东西，而且自己非常的认可。即使这个东西没有了或者失败了，我也愿意去做这个事情。
Even if young Chinese makers are well prepared for risk and failure, they face another, possibly even greater challenge. How do they bridge understanding across the generation gap and secure support from their parents? In China, most parents expect their sons and daughters to succeed in the traditional way, attending a top university, landing a risk-free job, and getting wealthy by being promoted inside a safe and stable company. In tradition-steeped China, young people often have to follow, or at least respect, advice from the older generation. This is part of the reason why many makers hesitate over taking such a radically different path.
其实像很多中国的家长，包括我自己第一年在创业公司，我也不敢告诉我的父母，他们会觉得这种你是不是风险太大，是不是那个？但可能我们这一代人接受的教育，觉得，我们真的需要做一些自己喜欢的东西，去尝试去创作，因为我们觉得我们的能力并不比国外的人差。其实，我们就为什么他们能够做到，我们做不到呢？
Family factors aside, makers face another challenge, this one posed by the traditional Chinese education system, which relies heavily on rote learning, with little emphasis on thinking laterally outside the box.
In China, we are good at doing things from 1 to 100. It's so familiar with us, and we can do it very well. But from 0 to 1, and that's the most difficult thing in China, because all the education system and the way we grow up, the way we learn.
The traditional Chinese way of learning pays more attention to memorization, repetition, tests and scores. As a result, some experts believe Chinese people largely lack the cognitive tools for mental creativity, and that natural tendencies for innovation, experimentation and creativity are suppressed. Experts say schools and colleges need to set up their own makerspaces and adopt the maker way of learning. Some pioneering schools in cities like Beijing have done just this, launching experimental programs where students share ideas and tools to make something with their own two hands. This shift to making is generating a perfect storm of new technologies, expanded opportunities, learning through first-hand experience, and utilising the basic human impulse to create. It has the potential to make China's classrooms more child-focused, relevant, and able to harness the incredible capacity of young minds. But even if makers in China are well prepared for the risks and failures, enjoy full support from their family, and have received an education that lends itself to innovation, they still have one thing to worry about, and that is how to find and embrace the open source model of the West.
There's very little tradition in China of real open source, where you give away something for free. It's easy to embrace the spirit of making. It's easy to embrace the spirit of innovation. It's easy to embrace the spirit of entrepreneurship. But can China embrace the spirit of openness, of sharing, of building communities that are based around participation, not money?
Besides being the founder of the Shenzhen-based Chaihuo Makerspace, Pan Hao is also an activist promoting open source hardware in China. He established a company in 2008 which focuses on the design and distribution of microchips and circuit boards that can be bought and used by anyone, lowering development costs and R&D barriers for many entrepreneurs that would otherwise have to develop these basic components from scratch. His company has now developed more than 700 kinds of these open source components in just 7 years.
因为它的开放，因为它的开源，把整个创客的门槛拉低，它很容易被大家所接受并且参与。我们都做过手工，我们都用我们的双手改变过这个世界。现在只是让这个方式增加了科技的元素，能够通过互联网更多的去组织起来。而且整个过程呢，也是大家不同背景的人一起来协作的。它可以相互激发，通过互联网能够更好的去组织、去重现的时候，大家可以在相互的肩膀上走得更远。
Despite the challenges, makers are already having an impact in China. And with attitudes towards openness and sharing changing as government support rises, all signs point towards these innovative Chinese entrepreneurs making it to the next level, and soon.
Now, you said as we were watching that report that you knew a lot of the faces there, you knew a lot of the projects there.
Yeah.
How small is the community?
So actually, for makers community, it's pretty small because we started like 4 years ago. It's a very young, community. Especially we started from the major cities like Beijing, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. So actually, everybody's my friends, I can say that. And also some projects I work with because from this community, we found out maybe Kickstarter and Indiegogo is the best way for the makers projects to go to the market. So actually, I am pretty much the first guy or to help the projects to go to market with that.
To nurture them and to help them get funding, that kind of thing?
Yes. So actually, from the Microduno, and we just saw on the video, so it's actually from my community. And we were just brainstorming about how we can go to market, because if you are just go to markets with all this advertisement and marketing tools, it's going to be very expensive. So actually the Kickstarter is the best way.
There is a sense that everyone kind of gets on board and helps each other out, is that right?
Yes, we're just a very happy community.
Right, and to what extent is it growing in China?
Actually, we started from a community, as I just mentioned, is a type of the community-driven type of the makerspace. But now we are running it as an incubator, means we have the recruitment every 6 months. And under the 6 months, we have different topics. And after that, we recruit the projects globally, and they can incubate in my space, in Beijing, in Shenzhen, in Hong Kong. We got 7 spaces around China now. So we want to make it more professional and more productive. Yeah.
Well, the report touched on this whole idea of open source, about sharing your ideas and your information. But that's all well and good, but where does then the funding come from?
I think open source is a spirit. It's just like everybody's just working in the same community, and they help each other, they grow together. But when talking about the business, when talking about the entrepreneurship, they would definitely run as a company with their own business model for sure.
Right. So could you give an example of a project you've worked on and how you've seen it grow?
Well, I got a very successful project I work with. It's called NVR. It's about virtual reality. And this company actually started like 2 years ago. At that time, nobody really knew about virtual reality. So it's basically grow at the same time with the company called Oculus Rift. It's actually been, acquired by Facebook with a lot of money. So afterwards, we find out that maybe go-to-market is a great way for us to get some early adopters from the US market. So we did a Kickstarter campaign. And afterwards, we're getting super popular, and they just got the funded by Sequoia, like from this year, and they grow really, really fast. Yes, it's just a 2 years company.
So where does most of the funding come from? Within China or outside of China?
Well, I think for the Chinese startups, usually the majority of their money are coming from the Chinese investor. But some of the overseas investors, they do looking for some great potential, nice projects in China, because everybody knows that China market is booming right now. Yes.
Well, in the report we talked about the challenges, some of the challenges that might come from this kind of maker movement from within China. What do you see as the biggest obstacles within China?
Well, I think, everybody knows like innovative is a world people usually describe about China, especially there's all about the copycatting, is because most of the company in Shenzhen, they are started with the ODM companies. So actually the biggest challenge is all about the innovations. It's about the really disruptive innovations. Yeah.
Among the challenges that you guys might come across in China is copyright, the issue of copyright, which, laws here might not be as strict as other places in the world. Is that something that you guys struggle with?
Totally, because actually for the makers, usually they are just college students or the people are working for the big corps. They don't really have the common sense about the IP protection. Especially we give a lot of workshops and everything trying to help them with that. But still, because for makers, the thing they're making is based on the open source, the type of vision, and they do have the way to protect their IP, but it's still a very gray area. I mean, we're still looking for the solutions for them.
What's a potential solution?
Well, I think first of all, you need to have the common sense to protect yourself. For example, there's so many apps and startup team, they're making some apps. You can upload some pictures or your content online. They're trying to protect you with like a hard copy or something like that. And you can hire a lawyer to help you with all these procedures in the futures when you have more financial support in the later.
And what about the expectation for kids? I know that you guys run Creatica. What about the expectation for kids to follow this traditional path of education, and then say if they want to get into a tech company, the parents might say, okay, we'll join an established company already. How do you guys approach that?
Okay, I think for Creatica, our vision is we are trying to create a third classroom. It's like a third space besides school and the families, because actually Creatica is somewhere that you can just open-minded, you can just take all these, tools from the magic box, you can make anything you want. So it's actually not a conflicts with the traditional education system, because you have to study from the traditional schools. It's like a very basic and fundamental things. But in Creatica is something we just help you to open your eyes and to learn something new, learn something very cool. So which is not with the conflicts.
Now it is trialing in schools in Beijing, is that right?
Yeah.
As part of the curriculum?
Yeah, not the major ones, but after school activities.
And we saw that Premier Li Keqiang was very much on board this.
I know.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, at the very beginning, so at that time I was in the US, and when I heard about it, I was so surprised, and also I'm very happy, because during these past 4 years, so maker movement, maker is a very niche market things, like people not really get noticed about us. But actually at the same time, like Zhongguancun, I mean the governments of the locally in Haidian, they support us very strong, and they are helping us grow from a very small company. Now we have on like several spaces, I mean physical spaces around China. And actually I think Premier League Xianghe was a very good insight about China's innovation. So the future, it should be really depends on the education, especially the Maker Academy, Maker education.
And thinking outside of the box.
Exactly.
All that kind of thing. Okay, well, we're going to take a little break, but I want to talk more about this whole idea about innovation and the benefits of the Maker movement to China.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll ask people on the streets of Beijing what they think is required to create. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm joined by Joanna Wei, co-founder of Beijing Makerspace and Creatica, which is helping to nurture innovation in China. Well, we asked several people what it takes to be a maker. Let's show you what answers we got.
至少一开始应该有一个想法吧，因为毕竟是要创业的嘛，就是要有一个比较好的想法或者是项目什么的。 然后再就是需要有资金，或者是身边亲戚朋友的支持吧。
第一个是毅力，第二要自信，其他的嘛就是要看自己了，努力了。
他这个创意，如果说就是能，我觉得还是能抓住这个就是人们的需求，而且有一定量的这种需求，而且是一种现实的需求的话，定位比较准确的话，可能我觉得。 成功的机会可能比较大一点。
那肯定，首先他这个人他能坚持下去，这是最主要的。然后还有他所要找这个项目是一个符合大发展方向、大趋势，有这个需求。然后主要就是还是说是解决了某种痛点的问题。然后嘛，其实还是要看他的各方面能力，他有没有这种资源，或者他就是好多人就是比较能说嘛，他能说就各方面就是曝光度也强，然后这样他就能迅速的拿到钱。
Now that last, you giggle, why?
It's true.
It is true.
It's true. Yeah.
She also said you have to have a big heart.
Yeah. For entrepreneurs, usually they just will be face a lot of difficulties, especially. You are young, because most of the entrepreneurs I work with, they're pretty much like 20, 30 something. They didn't really have much difficulty maybe in their past of their life. So actually you have to have a very big heart, especially you have a really good gut feelings about everything. And actually working with the team members is actually a very important thing, because I see a lot of teams, they fail because they cannot really compromise with each other. They don't really appreciate your...
Because there aren't any rules drawn out, right? So you don't know who gets what share and whose role is what, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true, because you have to learn from your past experience. When you don't have the previous experience, then you have to ask for others, like mentors, like all these professional people.
Okay, so you need passion. Yeah. Teamwork's important.
Yeah.
Thick skin.
Yeah, I think so. And also because we are focused on the hardware innovations, and you have to have a very strong technical background.
Right. Thank you very much for coming on the show, Joanna. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. If you have any comments or questions, email us at chinainsight@cctv.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Weibo, and WeChat. And we'll see you next time for more stories and discussion on China out of China. Goodbye.